Well, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And this is your Royal Daily News for September 30th, 2022. In Tokyo, their Imperial Highnesses Crown Prince Akishino and Crown Princess Kiko of Japan attended the 70th anniversary celebrations of the establishment of the National University Annex School PTA Union held in the Shinjuku ward. In Brussels, after completing 5 intensive weeks of military training at the Elsenborn Military Camp, His Royal Highness Prince Gabriel of Belgium, along with members of his platoon, were presented with a Blue Beret from His Majesty King Philippe of the Belgians. According to the Belgian Royal Court, the receiving of the Blue Beret is a, quote, testimony of the success of student officers who have successfully completed the Military Initiation Phase, PIM, from the Royal Military Academy, end quote. The RMA is a university of the Belgian Defense responsible for the academic, military, and physical training of its future officers. Yesterday afternoon, His Majesty King Philippe of the Belgians participated in a ceremony to mark the 50th anniversary of the Special Units Directorate, DSU, of the Federal Police in Brussels. The DSU is an elite unit that carries out specialized support missions when other police resources are no longer sufficient. During the ceremony, His Majesty the King watched a new, quote, dynamic demonstration and handed over a new banner to the DSU management, end quote. In Luxembourg City, His Royal Highness Grand-Ducal Henri of Luxembourg held an audience with a delegation from the Pro-Lux trade union, which is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, held at the Palais Grand-Ducal. Yesterday afternoon in Betthembourg, His Royal Highness Grand-Duke Henri of Luxembourg attended the 20th anniversary celebrations of the Council for Economic Development of Construction, the CDEC. According to the Cour Grand-Ducal, during yesterday's visit, the CDEC Director General, Mr. Bruno Renders, spoke about the goal for the next 20 years to, quote, build a resilient, completely decarbonized construction built on energy independence, the circular economy, and human management, end quote. During yesterday's celebrations, there were various exhibitors from the Luxembourg construction sector held on the theme The Future is Today, dedicated to climate and the environment. In Stockholm, His Majesty King Carl Gustaf of Sweden received letters of credence from 3 newly appointed ambassadors to Sweden at the Kungliga Slottet. The new ambassadors are the ambassador from the Kingdom of Denmark, Her Excellency Christina Beckert, the ambassador from the Republic of Estonia, His Excellency Tomas Luke, and the ambassador from the Republic of Moldova, Her Excellency Liliana Gutan. In the afternoon, His Majesty the King participated in a meeting with members of the Foreign Affairs Committee. The Foreign Affairs Committee is a consultative body between the Parliament, the Riksdag, and the government, with His Majesty the King as chairman. The FAC consists of the Speaker and 9 other members of Parliament, the Riksdag, and 9 deputies. The Foreign Affairs Committee meets at the invitation of the government. In the Swedish Constitution, it is stated that the, quote, government must continuously keep the Foreign Affairs Committee informed about the foreign policy conditions that may have significance for the kingdom and consult with the committee about these as often as necessary. As Breast Cancer Awareness Month begins on Saturday, October 1st, 2022, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden, as patron of the Pink Ribbon Campaign, posed for new photos for the Swedish Cancer Foundation. According to a press release from the Swedish Cancer Foundation, quote, every year around 7,600 women in Sweden are informed that they have been affected by breast cancer. During October, the Swedish Cancer Foundation's Pink Ribbon Campaign is being carried out with the aim of collecting money for cancer research, spreading knowledge about cancer, and influencing decision makers on important issues. With a great interest in issues related to cancer and the development of research, Crown Princess Victoria's involvement as the campaign's patron is an important element of the campaign, end quote. If you're interested in learning more about the Pink Ribbon Campaign, in the description box below, I will leave a direct link, the English version, to the Swedish Cancer Foundation's official website. Last evening, His Majesty King Carl Gustaf of Sweden, accompanied by their Royal Highnesses Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel of Sweden, and their Royal Highnesses Prince Carl Philippe and Princess Sophia of Sweden, hosted a gala representation dinner held inside the Karl XI's Gallery at the Kungliga Slottet in Stockholm. Unfortunately, Her Majesty Queen Sylvia of Sweden did not attend last evening's gala dinner. According to the Swedish royal court, Her Majesty has a cold. Guests attending last evening's gala dinner included representatives from the, quote, transitional government, parliament, diplomatic corps, authorities from the world of science, sports, business, culture, and people the Swedish royal family have met during their travels around Sweden, end quote. Prior to the gala dinner, members of the royal family held a receiving line/greeting ceremony in the White Sea Ballroom. Thereafter, the guests entered the Karl XI's Gallery, where dinner was served. Late this afternoon, the Swedish royal court announced that Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden will pay a state visit to Jordan beginning on November 15th through 17th, 2022, at the invitation of His Majesty King Abdullah II of Jordan. At Fredensborg Slot, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark received letters of credence from newly appointed ambassadors to Denmark. The newly appointed ambassadors are from Uganda, Turkey, Latvia, the Netherlands, and Slovenia. As head of state, Her Majesty the Queen is the one who receives the new ambassadors. The presentation of the letters of credence to Her Majesty the Queen is in a sealed envelope. Once Her Majesty receives the sealed envelope, the new ambassador may carry out his or her work as the official representative of his or her country in Denmark. Prior to the presentation of the letters of credence, the new ambassadors arrive at Fredensborg Slot in a carriage from the royal stables and are escorted by the Guard Hussar Regiment's horse escort. In Copenhagen, Her Royal Highness Crown Princess Mary of Denmark attended the opening of the 6th International Association for Youth Mental Health Conference entitled Reimagine Youth Mental Health. According to a press release, the 3-day conference will gather, quote, young people, experts, professors, and organizations from around the world to share knowledge, inspire each other, discuss, and find solutions on how each of us can change the way we talk about mental health, end quote. Prior to entering the conference, Crown Princess Mary was asked about her thoughts regarding Her Majesty the Queen's decision to remove the style and titles from her grandchildren. The purpose of Her Majesty's decision to remove the styles and titles from her grandchildren is an attempt to adapt the Danish monarchy to the tasks of the future and the demands of a royal house in keeping with the times. When asked about her thoughts regarding the decision, the Crown Princess said, quote, it is a very difficult decision to make and to accept. Change can be extremely difficult and can hurt. But this does not mean that the decision is not the right one, end quote. A reporter then asked, does this mean that your children can also lose the prince and princess titles? The Crown Princess replies, quote, today we cannot see what the royal house will look like when it is Christian's time or when Christian's time approaches, end quote. The Crown Princess was also asked about her thoughts about the disagreement within the royal family regarding Her Majesty's decision. The Crown Princess replied, this is what happens with change, and we have to work on it, end quote. In Hornbæk, Her Royal Highness Princess Benedikte of Denmark inaugurated the OK Fond's new nursing home. Upon her arrival, the princess was bombarded by the Danish press, eager to get a statement from her regarding Her Majesty the Queen's decision. When responding to a question from a reporter from TV2, the princess said, quote, of course it's difficult for them at the beginning. That is absolutely clear. But my sister makes wise decisions, also as queen, and thinks about the future and not the here and now. And I believe that's the most important thing, end quote. In Madrid, His Majesty King Philippe VI of Spain presided over the presentation of the 8th Enrique Iglesias Award for the development of the Ibero-American business space held at Palacio de la Zarzuela. The winners of the award went to Colombian businessman, banker, and president of the Galinsky Group, Mr. Jaime Galinsky. Mr. Galinsky received the award for his contribution to the economic and social development of Ibero-America and to the strengthening of ties between the countries that form it. The other winner of the award went to the Secretary General of the United Nations Trade and Development Agency, Mrs. Rebecca Greispan. And finally, in London, the Royal Mint unveiled the first official coin portrait of His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom. The coin portrait was designed by Mr. Martin Jennings, FRSS, and personally approved by His Majesty the King. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow on Saturday, October 1st, with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful evening and a great weekend ahead. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, take care, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.